Ubisoft faces a persistent challenge in reworking operators, largely to the continuous shifts in the game's meta. Each new operator often overshadows an older one, making them obsolete. Of course, balancing the demand of professional players with the need to keep operators authentic and engaging for the broader community is a complex task. Let's dive into the history of reworks in Siege to understand why Ubisoft struggles with this process. I want to say before the video starts, I won't be going over just official reworks like Goyo and Tachanka, but also non-official ones that stand out as any big gadget changes, just so I can explain my point. I really just want to highlight the good versus bad reworks and explain, in my personal opinion, why they are bad and why some are good. Let's get into it. Ubisoft is notorious for struggling with shield operators. It all started in Operation Dustline with Blackbeard. Blackbeard had a face shield on top of his AR that was basically indestructible, with over 800 HP but felt like 2000 HP. Within months of release, Ubisoft tried tweaking things like reworking the auto reload when his shield was equipped. Then we saw a needed overhaul. Blackbeard would now have two shields that you can cycle through and even lower the HP of the shields to 150 HP apiece. Ubisoft would constantly tweak the HP of these shields and even tune the speed with the shield. An operator like Blackbeard never felt like he belonged within Siege, since he brought little skill and even smaller tactical gameplay. Blackbeard was officially reworked with the Operation Collision Point update that completely took away the face shield from the AR and made Blackbeard a shield operator. They equipped Blackbeard with a shield just like Blitz, but with the additional ability to breach through soft walls with a dash. Since year one, Blackbeard has always been a problem. An operator shouldn't have the ability to block a headshot, then pull out an AR. Blackbeard hasn't been the only problematic shield operator. Early on, Blitz was a meme to the community. It felt damn near impossible to do anything with him, since his shield would go up if he ran and his limbs would easily show from the sides. Ubisoft made the right decision in changing that aspect of him, but still struggled over the years to get him right. They would try things like changing the ADS timing and his ability to adjust it. I gotta say, out of all the shields, Blitz is definitely the best balanced and is nowhere close to Clash. Clash was another balancing disaster waiting to happen. Being the first operator on defense with a shield, equipping her with the ability to crowd control with a charge that disrupts attackers' mobility, there were some problems. The effect lasted too long, did 5 damage per tick, and she was easily able to swap to her secondary within a blink of an eye. Ubisoft obviously couldn't find a good spot for her because after 2 different tweaks, they decided to commit a full rework on her gadget. They made her mobile, allowing her to place her shield anywhere and activate her ability without her being anywhere close to it. Class is in the same exact place she was in at release. She's overpowered and it doesn't take much skill to use her at all. This is an ongoing problem with shield operators in general, and showing that outside of Blitz and Montang, there's no more room for full gadget shield operators. Now let's talk about a shield operator that was changed successfully. Goyo single-handedly started the utility meta back in the day. Since he was equipped with 3 Goyo shields, he could hold power positions anywhere on the map and then have the ability to waste additional time. Goyo was first tweaked because of a hostage griefing problem where players would shoot close by Goyo canisters and kill the hostage, leading to the Goyo getting penalized from it. Ubisoft played around with the amount of shields he had to see if that would do anything, but the utility meta carried on. After seeing that this didn't do anything, Ubisoft flat out took the canisters away from the shields and gave players the freedom to place canisters anywhere for the denial aspect, but not having the free protection that a shield provides defenders. And I promise this is the last semi-shield operator I'll talk about, but you can tell that this is an ongoing problem that Ubisoft has. Tachanka was kind of just like Blitz within the community, a huge meme. He felt like a sluggish, slow operator that would force you to be in one place if you wanted to use his gadget. Ubisoft technically did 2 reworks within Tachanka's lifecycle. The very first one was updating his gadget, adding a breakable shield on his turret so you felt protected while being stationary. It felt like it would be a good idea. Even though this was cool, the playstyle didn't translate to a lot of players, leading him to sit in the meme category and being another thing you did to disrespect your enemy if you were just winning. This led to his second rework, finally making him portable and equipped with a launcher that shoots grenades that generate areas of fire 1 second after one bounce. Tachanka still felt underwhelming. It makes sense when you're in the space with better operator picks like Smoke or Goyo, who have way better area denial and sometimes don't even need an operator to be up, because an operator like Goyo, you can literally just have your teammate shoot the canister. Tachanka to this day is still put in a super niche category where he can be useful, it just takes a lot to get him to work, and for the average person, it's just not worth playing him. I really wanted the rework to be exciting, but something just fell off about him. Glaz is one of those operator reworks where it honestly just worked. Ubisoft kept it simple and gave Glaz a thermal scope that lets him see people through smoke. They tested a few different editions of this, including a variation where Glaz would have to sit completely still to activate his thermal scope, but of course they had to tweak it because it didn't translate well. At one point, Glaz was even able to shoot through castle barricades and bulletproof windows, which is a change I personally liked, but I understand why they had to let it go, because you were seeing Glazes in every single game. Glaz sits in a perfect spot at the moment because of these changes. He's not too weak or too powerful, but in the right hands, with the right team, he can dominate around. But that's nothing like the botched Recruit rework that Ubisoft hyped up. Recruit was many things before the rework. A meme, a fun operator to mess around with, and a staple within the community. Looking at patch notes, Recruit was barely changed from what he was at release. Let's be honest, they could have left Recruit alone, and to this day, no one would complain because he just wasn't a serious operator. Recruit was meant to be a starter, easy operator for players to learn Siege when they didn't have operators, or if a player wanted 2 secondary gadgets to replace their main. But what Ubisoft did was take another staple of soul out of the community. Like seasoning chicken with salt and pepper, the Recruit felt bland with the rework. Ubisoft took the option to bring more than one recruit and changed the name to a single attacker and defender, being sentry and striker, which if you didn't know, the defender recruit is actually a girl. You still have the option to pick whatever 2 secondary gadgets you want and a new variety of guns with scopes, but they overpromised and underdelivered. Repackaging Recruit with mobile-like visual features and the same exact ability. If you can tell now, Ubisoft does best when they don't overhype and mildly change an operator by adding on to what they already have, instead of completely changing the operator entirely. Kapkan had his lasers removed and damage adjusted. Instead of outright killing someone with the EDDs, he can now stack them with an invisible laser and placement option wherever on a door frame. Habana had her gadget adjusted so she can use all of her pellets however she wanted. Instead of forcing someone using 6 pellets on everything, you can now use 2, 4, or 6, giving players more freedom to use utility how they'd want to. But nothing shows a better example than how they reworked Lion. At launch, Lion was overpowered. Maybe the most overpowered character in any game. With a click of a button, he can single-handedly make every defender stand still, or else they would have their entire body outlined like a wall hack continuously. Ubisoft gutted Lion, giving him actual counters like Vigil's Cloak and making his ability more about intel gathering rather than an easy trace through a wall. They replaced his real-time wall hacks into a red ping that would give you pings for 2 seconds. Lion isn't overpowered, but great only when used in a team environment with smart decision making. Where Ubisoft lacks in reworks comes down to a few things. They ultimately just do too much that they don't need to. Instead of adjusting the weak parts of an operator, they decide to gut them and change them up completely. You can see this with operators like Recruit and Tachanka. Ubisoft has an obsession with shield operators, like an actual kink. I don't think we should have ever gone past 2 primary ability operators with shields. It feels like a lazy way to get a new operator out. Blackbeard was certainly flawed from the start, but Clash now being able to jump out windows with her shield just makes for annoying gameplay no one enjoys. Ubisoft needs to go back to approaching operators how they used to. Tweak what's wrong with the gadget to make it stronger or add on to it, so it's enjoyable for the player to play. You don't need to have every single operator in the game be useful at all times, that's just unrealistic, but at least make them enjoyable and don't strip them from what makes them enjoyable.